Hello students. So, how are you feeling studying psychology? You've already done 4 chapters. You have learned up till now that we respond to stimuli in our environment. These are different sensations that occur around us. Now, today we shall begin with chapter 5, which will tell you about sensory, attentional and perceptual processes. This chapter has certain objectives. After going through this, you shall be able to understand the nature of sensory processes. You will be able to analyze processes and types of attention, also the form and space perception. What are the socio-cultural factors that influence perception of a human being is also something that you will learn after going through this chapter. The sensory, attentional, perceptual factors in your everyday life will be better understood by you. For your convenience, we have divided this chapter into 6 parts. They are 1. Stimulus and sense modalities. Part 2 shall deal with human eye and ear and their functioning. In part 3, you shall learn about attentional processes. The perceptual processes and perceiver will be dealt with in part 4. The perceptual principles of organization are the content of part 5, and in the final part you shall learn about illusions, constancies and the socio-cultural factors that influence the perceptual processes of a human being. So, let us begin with part 1, which is the stimuli and the sense modalities. In this chapter, we shall introduce you to the concept, cover the nature and varieties of stimulus, talk of the human sense organs and of the sense modalities. Friends, just look around in your room. You will notice many things. To begin with, you shall see your pen, pencil in your hand, your school bag, pencil box, lunch box, your table, chair, the blackboard and many other things. Now, if you move to another room of the school or of your home, you shall come across many other things. In a home, in kitchen you will come across pots and pans. You shall also see the television, the refrigerator, other electronic devices kept in your house, your mobile phone. And if you step out on the road, you will come across trees, buses, cars, other vehicles and many other things. Now, they all have different shapes, sizes, colors and other qualities. If someone asks you, how are you so sure that these things exist? Your simple answer would be, well, I see them every day, I experience them, I know them and hence I can claim and I can vouch that they very much exist. So just stop and think, what have you done? You have observed things, sensed them. Then you have attached meaning to them of what you have learnt they are called. And then you have tried to perceive their different qualities, how bright, which color, smooth or hard, sounds or dim sounds, bright light or faint light. So, all this process you have been able to do going through 3 steps: sensation, attention and perception. These 3 processes are very closely interrelated, so much so that they are sometimes, rather usually, referred to as different processes in a larger process of cognition. In this chapter today, we shall deal with all of them one by one. To begin with, in this part, let us talk of what are the stimuli that we perceive, how do we sense them, what are the body components that help us do that? Well, this is a highly intercorrelated process, as we said. So, there are various stimuli. They are of different nature and of different varieties. You either see them, hear them, touch them, smell them. You see a car, you hear its horn. When you touch it, you say, oh, this is a texture which is smooth. If there is food in front of you, the fragrance tells you that what it is. Many things you are able to tell. You can tell different fragrances of flowers, of food items, of odors which are smells which are not very pleasant. So, all this is done using your sense organs. Now, we are blessed with 7 sense organs as human beings. 5 of them are external and 2 are internally placed in our bodies. They are also known as sensory receptors and also information gathering systems. Now, let us deal with these sense organs one by one. The human senses are used to enrich our perception of different stimuli in the environment. Vision, audition, smell, taste, touch and other skin senses are the 5 external senses. There are 2 deep senses which are placed within us. These are the kinesthetic system and the vestibular system. We shall talk of the auditory sense and the visual sense more in detail in the next part of this chapter, because they are the major ones which contribute to almost 80% of our sensations and information processing in our lives. The other 5 let us talk of now. The first one being smell. Now, how do we receive smell? What are the receptors? The stimulus of the smell sensation are actually the molecules of various substances contained in the air. These molecules enter our nasal passage, they dissolve in the moist nasal tissues and then they come in contact with the receptor cells which are contained in olfactory epithelium. Humans have approximately 50 million such smell receptors. We are able to distinguish amongst more than 10,000 different smells. Isn't it amazing? How many smells do you think you can differentiate or recognize in your life? Flowers, food, bad things, good things, maybe petrol, paint. If somebody farts, you say, oh, there is a smell. You also tell people, wow, nice perfume. Which deodorant do you have? So imagine how many smells are you deciphering from the morning that you get up to the night when you go to sleep. 10,000 of these you can do being a human being. And there are certain specialized people who are able to do this even more. Now let us come to the next amazing sense organ that we have. That is the tongue. It gives us the sense of taste. How do we receive taste? The receptors of taste are located inside small bumps in the tongue which are known as papillae. In each papillae, we have a cluster of taste buds. Humans have almost 10,000 different taste buds. However, we are able to detect 4 basic tastes which are sweet, sour, bitter and salty. No, you don't agree? You are saying that there are n number of tastes that we are able to detect? Hold on. The taste buds tell you about these 4 tastes, but there are other qualities of any kind of stimulus of smell which correlate and interrelate with these tastes. Qualities like how much of pressure it is executing on your tongue, the temperature of the food that you are eating, the sight, the smell. So, together all of these, and also when many flavors combine together, we are able to detect many different tastes. Still, the 4 basic ones remaining: sour, sweet, salty and bitter. So, we see that there are different senses that combine with each other to give us sensations. The next one is touch and other different sensations that are given by skin. Skin is the largest sense organ of our body which runs from head to toe. The skin sensations of touch, warmth, cold and pain are experienced. There are specialized receptors for each of these in our skin. The receptors of touch, for example, are not evenly distributed across your skin. Therefore, certain areas are more sensitive to touch than others, like the face or your fingertips are more touch sensitive than your legs, for the precise reason of uneven distribution of the touch receptors. Something like pain has no specific stimuli at time. Therefore, studying the reception of pain has been a very complex activity for the physiologists and the psychologists alike. You know, at times there might be a thorn which is an external stimulus and you are experiencing pain because of it. But at other times you say, oh, there is pain in my head, my stomach is aching, and there is no external stimuli to be detected. So, therefore, it becomes very complex to detect the reasons behind them. Another very interesting sense which is placed inside our body is the kinesthetic system. These receptors are located primarily in joints, ligaments and muscles. They give us information about the location of our body parts in relation to each other, hence allowing us to perform certain simple and complex movements. Simple movements like touching your nose and complex movements like dancing are all possible because of your kinesthetic senses, which are the deep senses inside your body. Our visual system also helps us in detecting kinesthetics. The second deep sense is the vestibular system. It gives information about the body position, movement and acceleration. All these are required to maintain our sense of balance. The sensory receptors for the vestibular system are located inside the inner ear. The vestibular sacs and semicircular canals in the ear provide the sense for position, acceleration and movement respectively. So, you see that we have sense organs which help us make sense of the world. So, here we come to the definition of sensation. You can see at your screens, we can say that sensation is the initial experience of an object registered by a sense organ. Also, it is the process through which we detect and encode a variety of physical stimuli. The immediate basic experience of stimulus attributes like whether they are hard, warm, blue in color, loud in sound are all given to us by sensation. So, now you understand what is sensation even in terms of the definitions of the book. Each sense organ is highly specialized to deal with a particular kind of information and therefore, it is also known as the sense modality. Friends, but howsoever highly specialized the sense modalities might be, they also have certain limitations. The functional limitations of sense organs are visible to you. In your day-to-day life, you cannot see if the light is too dim or too bright. When you are going out in the night and suddenly a car comes with very bright light in the front and the high beam, you are suddenly blinded and you cannot see something for a moment. If a friend puts a torch directly in your eye, the effect is the same. If you are put into a totally dark room, you will not be able to see. If someone speaks very slowly, your reaction is, oh, pardon, I was not able to listen. If the sound is very loud, you again say it was deafening and I was not able to know anything. So, these are the functional limitations of your highly specialized sense modalities. Your eyes, ears and other organs, it is not possible for them to notice all the stimuli in the world. And it is also not possible for them to differentiate between all the different stimuli in the world. For being noticed by a sensory receptor, a stimulus has to be of optimal intensity or magnitude. The branch of psychology that studies the relationship between stimuli and sensations that they evoke is known as psychophysics. Let us now deal with two simple concepts of psychophysics. The first one is the absolute threshold or the absolute Lyman. It is called AL for brief. AL is the minimal value of a stimulus required to activate a given sensory system. It is not fixed. It varies with individuals and their situations. Let us understand this with an example. Sugar makes something sweet and we put sugar in milk or water to make it sweet and drink it. Now, if I put one crystal or one granule of sugar in a glass of water and ask you to taste it, you would say, no, it is not sweet. I put another granule, again you will not experience the sweetness. But if I keep on adding 1 granule each at a time, after certain amount, you would say, yeah, now the water tastes sweet. So, this minimal amount of sugar which was required to make you feel the water's sweetness is the absolute limon. But as we said, it varies with individuals and even with the stimuli. Sometimes your sugar is more sweet, sometimes you get it from a grocery shop and the sweetness is less. Sometimes you are more receptive, and at times you are so tired, so thirsty or so sleepy, you are not able to notice the minimal stimulus. Hence, the absolute limon or AL, absolute threshold, is when we experience 50% of the times a stimulus, then we say it is the AL of that stimulus receptor. Now, you were drinking this sweet water and then I add one more granule, you will say it is equally sweet. But if you were drinking a water with 1 spoon of sugar and I add 2 more spoons, you will say, oh, the sweetness has changed. You will be able to differentiate in the sweetness. So, this is the differential limon, DL, or the differential threshold of the stimulus. By definition, it is the smallest difference in the value of 2 stimuli that is necessary to notice them as different. The minimum amount of change in a physical stimulus that is capable of producing a sensation of difference 50% of the times is DL. Friends, do you understand this concept? A green is a green, but you are able to differentiate one green from another green if the hue or the saturation of the color changes to a certain extent. The certain extent is the DL. You shall study psychophysics in your next year and these concepts will become more clear to you then. So, do we understand now that the sensory processes depend upon the stimulus characteristics, that is, how much of the stimulus intensity, amplitude, magnitude, brightness is there. They also depend upon the human sense organs. If a light is good enough to read, but someone who is blind by birth will not be able to read even in that light, that means the sense organ, which is the eye, is not able to receive. The receptors are damaged. If the eye is correct, but the neural pathways carrying the reception stimulus to the brain are defected, again it will not be detected by us. On the other hand, if the sense organ is healthy, so are the neural pathways, but the section of the brain which was to receive these stimuli had certain defects, then the sensory processes would again be hampered and hindered. So, we can safely say that the sensory processes depend upon the stimulus characteristics and on the sense organs and neural pathways that connect them to the various brain centers. A sense organ receives a stimulus and encodes it as an electrical impulse. Then it reaches the higher brain center, which is located in the cortex. There the perception, attaching meaning to the simple sensation, occurs, and when this happens, we are able to make sense of the world around us. So, friends, making sense is not only the process of sensation through sense organs or specialized sense modalities. It also involves processes of attention and perception. The past learning that you have had, the basic experiences in your life all add to the process of sensation. But this cognition is an intercorrelated process which goes through the steps called sensation, attention, perception. In this part 1 of chapter 5, we have dealt with different senses, the sense organs and the stimuli characteristics which are required to have proper sensation. In part 2, we shall deal with the specialized, highly important senses of vision and audition, and thereon the perception and attention processes will be talked about. I hope you shall now be able to appreciate how much our human body is a machine to be able to make sense of the world around us. Thank you.